Welcome, everyone. I'm Callie Elwayns, and I'm so excited to be here today with an incredible circle of women from around the globe. They are close friends of mine. We have been through deep waters together, and I deeply respect and honor these women and the incredible work they do in the world. And it's International Women's Day, and we had decided to come together and have a discussion that we feel is so very necessary in these changing times. And I couldn't be more happy to be here with each of you. The discussion topic today, and one that we feel like we are going to be having on a more regular basis, is called Evolving Our Narrative. We are going to share our critical perspectives on the emerging feminine leadership that is so necessary in these changing times. So it's an exciting time. I mean, it's actually a paradox of, change and loss and grief and all of that, and expansion and opportunity, right? So a lot of us have in this past couple of years really taken that opportunity to start to flow with the shifts and step into this new energy of what's available and what's needed. Our first question or a topic we're going to talk about is, what do you see as the opportunities for women to step forward and help contribute to shaping this new paradigm?
We're 2022 now, and in 2018, which was 4 years ago, I created a Feminine Leadership Summit with 21 female speakers from 11 different areas around the world, ranging from the US to Australia, South Africa, and Europe. And they were all successful women who had really good careers. And we talked about how that was for them. What was it like being a successful woman? And mainly they shared stories of struggle, of despair, of feeling more like a man than a woman, and they really wanted to be more feminine, be able to bring more of their femininity into who they were being in the workplace. And so that inspired me to create a feminine leadership program, which I have actually called Inspired Feminine Leaders. And what I believe we need at this point in time, and we have a huge opportunity to do that, is to actually help women to rebalance in their feminine and to bring much more of their feminine ways of doing things, ways of being into their workplaces, into who they are as women, so that they can shine more authentically in their radiance and power. So this is the opportunity that I see for women at this point in time, and to bring some of those beautiful feminine qualities into who they are.
Such a better world with that, right? With more radiance and more of the feminine. Yeah, love that. Stella.
Great, thanks. So I think it is me. Yes, sorry. So yes, thank you, Alison. I think it's what I'm seeing, and I've been seeing for a number of years now, is that when this shift in energy started, and I think we all felt a moment where it became quite palpable, where you could almost feel it in the air. It was so poignant, wasn't it? And it was the women, always the women, that stepped forward first. There was these groups that I would lead, that would, as I say, the majority of them were ladies. And what always struck me about them, as I say, was their determination, their focus, their real heart-based desire to actually create something that was so much better for future generations. And it was their willingness to dig deep, their willingness to actually go to the places that, we would shy away from. And I think that sort of that strength, that focus, that ability to go into the shadow, as it were, is something that we all need to do. We know collectively we're in the shadow now. We're in this place where we know that we've lost our soul as a collective. There's that lack of heart connections really becoming more and more obvious. But what's so wonderful about it is, like, because of the way that consciousness works, because of the way that energy works, and with so many women stepping forward with this self-actualization, with this determination to create something better, something different for future generations and themselves. I think the future's in really good hands. I really think it's in very, very good hands. And it fills me with such joy to see the numbers growing more and more. And they might not always get it, but they're prepared to do the work. They're prepared to sort of step forward. And it's something Claire touched on as well, is this needing to belong somewhere, needing to be heard, needing to be able to, you know, speak to other women and appreciate, gosh, you feel that too, you sense that too. And we're not allowed to do that, especially in corporate, you know, organisations and that. There's not the opportunity for that, to have that connection, have that sharing. So there's so many opportunities here to really step into who it is that you are, who it is that you came here to be, and to just roll your sleeves up and do it, because the energy has never been more poignant or more behind you as it is now for the changes that are coming. So I'm excited for one. I know it's awful out there, but we all know that, you know, it's all about, you have to see one to transition to the other. So I'm saying that with great respect in my heart for everybody that's suffering, but on the other side of this, I am saying, goodness me, there is real light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm very excited by what I see and what I sense is in the field. So
yeah, you hear it, right, everyone? Amazing. Yeah, there's positivity, there's light, and there's determination and resilience.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, really following on from what Stella said and keeping in that vein, I remember being told back in the late 80s of the last century by some spiritual teachers that watch out for the first 30 years of the next century, because we're going to be going through a shift in consciousness. And I heard that, and I could literally start to feel the shift. To me, it was very gradual at the beginning of the century. And then it has just gone and moved, and then it's suddenly gone into high drive. And what I was also told is, for those of us on the spiritual path, this was the time to really complete our work, because we are the ones that are going to be out there and be able to walk through with a sense of ease and grace and pass that on to other people, specifically women.
Absolutely.
And I remember at the time just hearing this, it didn't make sense. But as I have evolved myself, I have witnessed that, not only in myself, but in the women I work with in recovery. And why I see this time is so potent, also following on from what has already been said, is, you know, coming out of lockdown that was so restrictive, with so much has happened with the feminine, and with, you know, there's so much talk about the divine feminine rising. And it's time for the feminine to rise in a very different way than before, from a softness, but a very powerful softness, from a sense of not having to get angry, be aggressive. All a woman has to do is just stand in her power and just be herself. And that is the most powerful thing that I am starting to witness, not only in myself, but when I notice it with the women I work with. And I also notice it in the circles. And what I love about my circles is these are women who've come together who did not know each other. And they all really wanted that sense of community. And I have been able to create a safe place for these women to come together, and they're just anxious for each month to come round. And none of them have dropped out. And I just find that absolutely remarkable. And it really warms my heart, because it tells me this is what women need. As our mentor says, we can't become ourselves by ourselves. Women need each other to grow and evolve.
That's right.
And I love to be able to hold that space, to be a pebble in the sand that helps to create the new future. Yeah.
Beautiful, Claire. So resonate with all this.
Wow. What I would like to add is we are the first generation of women educated. In my family, I am the first for so many centuries. And then I think that the feminine power is still something that we have to create. There's no story of feminine power. We don't have any model. We can't resonate now with masculine power. And what is shifting is we try to find a mindset, and women try to find a mindset to be a good leader. But to be a good leader now, we have to try to test, to make error, to use our value to be able to define and write in the future what is the feminine power. Because until now, we are writing this story step by step, erasing what we don't want to keep and creating what we would like, or harvesting what we would like to keep. And that is, for me, what is really shifting, that is the women are realizing that they have a power, and we are all pioneers. And it's time for us to just act without fears of failure, because all we are doing is like a test.
Absolutely. Wow, I love all of this. And for me, I think, what's so potent and compelling right now? Everything's shifting. We've been inside a more masculine, rational, dominant world. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we all have our masculine sides. We need the masculine to be productive and focused and all of that. But we've been inside of it, and it's had a cost. It's had a cost for women. It's had a cost for a lot of people. What I'm finding is that a lot of us are still inside of the old embodied stories of limitation and lack, like in our bodies. A lot of the space I work in the world is in the somatic space of we're in these contractions and we're reinforcing together culturally as women and individually these limitations. And so for me, I'm feeling like the opportunity is to start to come out of that now. I'm ready to get moving. I don't know about you guys, like I'm ready to get moving. And so I feel like we need to acknowledge all of that. But where my love to support women in the world is really also just around taking the risk, that piece of the 5% that's left, that's stayed back in safety. And it makes sense, but I'm ready to get out of safety and do the thing. I don't know. I really feel it's an exciting time.